Um, yeah, I love the Georgia Bears, dude. They're great. Okay. Yeah, feel free to adjust that thing on.
How's it go?
Oh, good. We can here. Click the. See the table over there? There's like a button on the side of the table. Yeah, hit the down arrow, and then put it to where you. Yeah, sometimes it wants to do that. Just keep. Yeah, give it more love. There you go. Go keep going. Just click and hold.
No, I thought I was doing it when it shot back up.
Yeah.
There it goes.
I think it might have. There you go.
That's good.
Not super high tech. We're just gonna over it.
I love it.
Cool, man. All right. We're here settling in. I'm so sweaty and gross. We're gonna let it ride. All right. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Blaze over here at the Blue Chip Athletic Club podcast. I'm stoked to have Jordan on today. We just finished a workout, so we start coughing profusely or
my voice cracks.
Yeah. Please, no hate. All of our sponsors are going to be in the show notes. I don't want to go through any of those today, so we're just going to let this thing rip. Jordan, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Super cool to be able to meet you through Caleb and go to a run club event and then kind of chat after that and have an opportunity to talk with you. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
It
always seems like Caleb is he's always that centerpiece.
Man. Yeah, a little linchpin.
Yeah. So
cool, man. Tell me. We'll start off just like an origin story. You can go back as far as you want, and just tell me a little bit about you and like where you're from and kind of what you do.
So originally from Clearwater, Florida, and did 5 years in the military, did 5 years in the Navy. Don't know how.
We all make mistakes.
No, right? Now, at first, when you first get out, you're like, fuck this, what did I do? But once you get out, you're like, one thing I will say is that those people are right. They regret getting out. There is a small part of me that wishes they would have stayed in, but it also be because like when you get out, there's no more structure. That's everything you got to do on your own. You can't. I was on a boat on the aircraft carrier, so everything I needed was a walk away.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an adjustment. That's definitely a conversation for another day or maybe later on in the podcast. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into transitioning from military to civilian. But no. Growing up, wasn't a very athletic kid. Wasn't really pushed to do stuff, and it's not that my parents didn't push me or my brother. They kind of let us do our own thing, but thankfully we love sports, and we played every sport imaginable, like everything you could think of, except for like ping pong, I guess.
Dude, that's an important sport. I did a whole episode the other day about ping pong.
Really? But it's those sports you get into later as like as a teenager and as an adult, and you become really good at for no reason.
Are you a pickleballer now? Dude?
Oh, I'll pickleball it up for sure. But no, they ended up playing football, and everyone played football around me. So it was like my cousin was really good at it, my brother was really good at it, and then for me it just didn't catch. And when you're in little league, you try to tackle the person with the ball. When you're on defense, offense, just try to get the ball to the end zone. And then once I got to high school, that wasn't it. And I didn't play at first. I actually played golf. I was the first one in my family to like take golf pretty seriously. Try to go like to the junior PGAs and all that stuff.
We can add that to the list of my regrets, not sticking with golf.
Not sticking with golf. Me too. And what's funny is I got made fun of growing up. Like not made fun of, like bullied, but like people looked at me like, you play golf? Like,
yeah.
Really? And then I took that as like, I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I ended up playing football, put golf to the side for a while, got to high school, started playing for the high school, but for the first 2 years I did play golf. And then I looked out, I was like, dang, I want to be a part of that. I want to play on the team, get the jersey. I want to play football and like do what everyone else is doing. So I stopped playing golf. Plus I played with some pretty good people. So I never even got to play in a tournament.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was good, just not good enough. But I also didn't put the time in, put the work in. I didn't know what it took to be like a really good athlete. I did not know the work ethic you needed. I had great work ethic from my dad. Just whatever you start, you finish, work hard at everything, try 110%, the basic stuff. But I never knew what it took to be a great athlete, to take it to the next level. So it was like, let me just play football with all my friends. Fortunately, we didn't have the greatest team. And of course, when you don't know how to play football and you're not very good at it, you're not going to do much playing time unless you're on like special teams. And I ended up being on special teams. I was actually a long snapper at one point. But I had fun, but it didn't click. I got put on defense one time because the linebacker was sick, and I finally got to step up. I got nailed the first play of the game. Got cracked hard. I was like, and I got up. My shoulders were numb. My fingers were tingling. Didn't know where I was.
They call that CTE nowadays, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, I got up and I'm like, that sucks. And of course, they pulled me out right away, put the sick kid in. And I was like, yeah, football just ain't it. And then, but through high school, I also wrestled. That was the main sport. But again, senior year rolled around, and that's when I realized, like, I can do something with this. I can take it serious. Something clicked over the summer. I think I started getting, I went up a level. I started winning more matches. I was wrestling higher level dudes, and I was beating them. And I was like, senior year, that's my year, and it's going to open up doors for me. Third term of the season, I remember like it was yesterday, East Lake Duels. I wrestled my first 2 or 3 matches, won all 3, made it to the second day. I had my first like actual like high level dude. Had a high level dude at the end of the day. So I wrestled 2. The last one of the day, I lost. He ended up, I think, getting second or first in that tournament, and lost by like a point or 2, and it bummed me out. I was like, no, I was supposed to win this tournament. Like, I wasn't seeded or anything, but I was just looking at the lineup. My coach was looking at the lineup, and he's like, you can win this tournament. And I was like, yeah, I know I can. And I lost to that dude, and I had a little mental breakdown, and then came back the next day ready to tear some shit up. And then kid came out, was desperate, and snapped my ankle. I was out for the rest of the season. Wrestling was over for me. And then ended up joining the military. Helped coach my brother's team and everything when he was in high school.
Was that right out of high school you joined?
No, actually, I joined when I was 20. So, like, I was in community college, went to SBC, helped coach the wrestling team. My brother, freak athlete. You go to Dunedin High School, his name's all over the boards. My brother broke every record at that school.
In wrestling?
In wrestling. He was athlete of the month or athlete of the week or whatever. Went on the news, all that stuff. He was a powerhouse at Dunedin. So, and it sucks walking into that room and looking up and seeing my brother's name, and I'm not on any of them, but I'm also proud of him too. So it's cool to see his name up there. Kind of sucks to not see mine, but yeah, shit happens for a reason. And then, ended up going to SBC, spending more money than I was making. I was working full time. I was tired, didn't have a life. And then I was at one of my brother's wrestling tournaments, and, he was doing really well in the tournament, and I remember sitting there. He just won a match, and then I'm like, I'm all happy. I'm pumped up, and I'm like, my brother's doing really well. I'm coaching his corner. It's just a good feeling. And then an Air Force recruiter walks by, and my dad goes, well, you're not doing anything. Why don't you go talk to them? I was like, kind of rude. All right. But he was right. And I went up to her, talked to her, and then long story short, met with her a couple times, and then I was supposed to have a meeting with her, and she wasn't there. And a Marine came out of the office next to her, and he goes, who you looking for? I go, so-and-so. I don't remember her name. I don't even remember her rank. She took emergency leave. And at the time, I didn't know what the hell that was. I didn't know why.
You just knew she wasn't there.
I just knew she wasn't there, and I'm like, well, that's very unprofessional. And I talked to my friend Billy. Grew up with him, played football with him. He went to a separate school once we got to high school, but he ended up joining the Navy. And he came up to me, and I look back, I laugh at it to this day because he goes, dude, my recruiter's nothing like that. He hits me up all the time. We meet all the time. He's always asking how I'm doing, how can he help? And I'm like, well, yeah, because he has a quota. And I know that now. Yeah. And how cool he was. Still a cool dude, but now I get the recruiter game now. And just heard that and ended up joining the Navy. My friend Billy goes to school, goes to boot camp, goes to school, I think gets to his C school, and then come to find out, he told me he loved it. He was having the time of his life. Next thing you know, he's getting out with full benefits. And I'm like, wait. And I talked to my dad. He goes, yeah, did you hear about Billy? He hates it. He's getting out, full benefits, everything. I'm like, he got me in here. And now I'm stuck. So I did my 5.
Dude, Billy played you like a fiddle.
Billy played me. Yeah.
Shout out to Billy.
But no, to be honest, like, I don't think I'd change a thing. I think if you would have, while I was in boot camp, if you would have asked me, like, do you want to go home? I probably would have said yes.
Of course, dude.
But
You
once
didn't yell that and your room tossed and
I had some trouble adjusting to that. One thing I wish I would have did more of before joining the military was adventuring out on my own, not being away from home, being away from the help, my parents, everything, getting out of my comfort zone. I wish I would have done more of that as a teenager, a younger person. Just because when I got there, I was so homesick. I didn't know. I was like, what did I get myself into? I'm never going to see my family again. Like, dude, every thought was going through my head. And so I had a tough time in boot camp, but got out and made it to the fleet, and I killed it in A school. Like, it was just I was just getting after.
Explain what A school is for people.
A school is where you learn your job, whatever job you decide to pick. So for me, I was aviation ordnance. So I was an aviation ordnanceman, aka a bomb technician. So we built bombs, tested missiles, built rockets. And you're in a weapon. And once you're in the fleet, you're in weapons department. So you have the option to do other things. One thing that I did was I was a 50 cal gun captain. So I got to man the 50 cals if we were going through any like dangerous areas, any straits. When we pulled in and out of ports, we manned 50 cals. So that was one thing I got to do. So yeah, A school is just like the basics. You learn your job, and just like any job, you learn a little bit when you go through your training or your certification. You go through schooling, but you really learn your job when you get there.
OTJ, baby.
Yep. So and then you have C school, which is further education, pretty much. Like if you were in a squadron, so if you're attached to a plane rather than a ship, and this is just for the Navy, you're going to learn more. You're going to learn about that plane and how your job pertains to that aircraft.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, you got A school and C school, but made it to A school, and I just try to put on a positive mindset. There were days. I think A school is where I first got a feeling of depression, what it feels like to be depressed. And I didn't know at first. I kind of like almost self-diagnosed myself, but I just never had that feeling before of like no motivation.
Do you think
like,
that was
almost sick? Like,
do you think that was like a function of being homesick, or do you think that was a function of like this new lifestyle, being away, like having all these new demands? Like, what do you think was kind of driving that?
I think it probably was a little bit of homesickness at first, but the fact that I didn't really have any friends going there, I didn't have anybody from boot camp. There were people in like my brother division that were there, but I didn't have anybody that I knew from boot camp. I was like the only one from my division that went there. And then I eventually met some people, but everyone I knew I was 20. Everyone else was 21, 22. So all the people
they're going out to the bars.
Yeah, they're going out to the bars. They're going out. And then when you're first there, you can't leave. And you have to be in uniform if you go do anything. And then you have to wait a couple weeks until you can actually go out in town and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for those first couple months, I was sitting in a dark room, and it wasn't like I did it on purpose. I opened the blinds up and everything. Like I let the sun shine in. But
and where were you? Where was your A school?
Pensacola.
Oh yeah.
So, but you're not in not Pensacola Beach, like chilling on the beach type of area.
You were at Navy.
You're
right?
Yeah, you're on a base, and everything is just the buildings are depressing.
Yeah,
like, there's no color, there's nothing going on. So, just kind of sat in my room and would watch movies. I'd go to the gym, and things got repetitive, but like there was no one there. I wasn't experiencing anything with anyone, and like some people would say, like be comfortable with being alone, and I get that to an extent, but sooner or later I was like, I kind of bounce back and forth. Is it because I'm homesick, or am I sitting here and my mind is racing so much that I'm putting myself into like a deeper, darker place and not even knowing it. And I'm sitting on it. And I look back on it and be like, oh no, dude, that was the beginning. So like for context, like I dealt with depression, anxiety, all throughout my military career. And then especially when I got out, and then, I dealt with some other stuff along the way, but yeah, that was my first like sign of that. But once I got into my classes at A school and like started being able to hang out with people and then be able to like, we got to like, you stand watch and everything. Standing watch, I started meeting more people and that kept me distracted. So like, I just worked. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep myself distracted. I don't like that feeling. I don't know what it is yet, but let me just keep working. And that way I don't feel that anymore.
Idle hands, devil's playground, man.
Yeah. So I just kept after it. And next thing you know, just everyone knew my name in the building. The head like counselors and all the people that worked in the office, they all knew who I was. I didn't have to stand watch anymore because I just worked so hard. I stood all the watches. So it got to the point where they're like, why is this dude always on the watch bill? Take him off the watch bill. He's not on watch anymore. And then through school, got student of the week. Just was always trying to do more. Always trying to do a little extra and just look good as best I could. Try to get awards and everything. And then by the end of it, it was between me and another dude. We tied for head of the class. So when you get head of the class, you get to pick your orders. And it was between me and him. And I think we played like rock, paper, scissors or something. And he won. So he got to pick. And I sat there and I spoke to someone in boot camp. And he pulled me aside because he saw that I was having a hard time. He goes, "What's up?" I go, "I just don't want to be here." He goes, "Why?" I go, "What do you mean? Why not? Like, I don't want to be here. Like, no, this is not what I thought it was going to be." He's like, "Well, that's how you get through hard things. That's how hard things happen. That's how you get tough. That's how you build character. That's how life is. You got to go through hard things. Not every day is going to be comfortable. That's not how you grow." And I was like, I took that and I was like, yeah, you're right. And then he goes, "Well, where's your hometown?" I go, "Clearwater, Florida." He goes, "Well, you got bases there." And he's like, "The next closest base, let's see you don't get Florida, which is because it's pretty tough to get Florida. You got Virginia. That's a drive away. You can go home on long weekends." I was like, okay. From that point on, all I put was Virginia in my head. I was like, if I can't get Florida, I'm getting Virginia. And of course, as soon as I went to pick orders, he picked California, and I saw Virginia. I saw USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, Norfolk, Virginia. I didn't look at any other orders.
There's Florida on there too, dude.
No, there wasn't Florida. Florida. I looked for Florida first. As soon as I scanned through, didn't see Florida, I immediately put my name right next to Norfolk, Virginia. I was like, I'm going to Virginia. If I went, that'd be another thing I would have done differently. I would have went to California, somewhere new, somewhere different. That was one thing I wish I would have done differently, but again, things happen.
Yeah, dude, hindsight's 20/20, and like you got to remember putting yourself in the spot that you were in. Like, was that truly what was best? Like being able to be that far away or like close to home. You know, the adjustment is so big, and I come from like a way different context of like my pops was in the military, so we moved like every 2 to 3 years my whole upbringing. So like polar opposite to where like we bounced around so much that I got uncomfortable when we stayed somewhere too long.
Oh, really?
So it was like we lived in Maryland, the longest of anywhere, and I want to say I was there from 6th grade through graduating high school. So I guess that's what 6 years that I was in one spot. By year like 5, I was like, bro, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Like the ironic thing is that when you stay somewhere that long, or when you're moving around a lot, you don't have that opportunity for people to change too much. So like, say we met and we became really good friends when we're like 7. If I only know you from 7 to 10, like we'll be really good friends. We'll have great memories. We'll do this whole thing. But like by the time I leave and we're 10, like I don't think that we went through like a hard time as like friends. Maybe we didn't change too much. Like we didn't like stop being friends. And then you hung out with this other guy who like I wasn't super cool with or whatever that ended up happening. But when I was in Maryland, those dynamic friendships started to occur to where like I knew somebody long enough to where, hey, we were really, really good friends. And then we also went to high school. You start adding in like drinking or drugs or whatever. And I'm not saying on a pedestal, I drank underage plenty. But I could tell the difference between people doing it in like a safe, controlled environment and then people not doing it. And then the path that took them down to be like getting into harder shit as like a younger kid, like starting to do cocaine or like smoking weed, not just to like chill out and have fun, but to go out and like be a fucking hooligan, you know? So like I ended up having to separate myself from that crowd of people, which was something I never had to do as a kid. And that like the dynamic is so interesting. Like people will talk about being homesick, and my wife is one of them who she's like, she grew up in the same town for 28 years before she moved away. Mm-hmm. And for her, it's so hard to detach and then be like comfortable away. And for me, it's the opposite. Like if you're telling me I got to go live somewhere for 28 years, I'm like, I'm going to get stir crazy, like, like a caged tiger or something like that, you know? So it's super interesting hearing that and then hearing how you like think back to those regrets. And I think, you know, also think too, like you may have felt that held you back or that you wanted that. But the flip side of the coin is like, I wish that I was able to be more comfortable being somewhere for longer and being able to fight through dynamic challenges and be okay with having a friend who is super close and then like losing them and then moving on and that being like fine. So I'll say, you know, everybody probably wants like what they can't have, and that's probably part of the human condition, but obviously not forgetting like that context of the life that you're living and the fact that you came out and, you know, you keep going with your story though. I just want to interject.
Well, no, I'm glad you brought that up because it's like it's not even a place of regret. Like at the time, if you'd asked me years ago if there's anything I would have changed, like I probably would have been like, no, but you know, if I could, this would be it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm now in a place where I'm happy all those things happened. I'm happy that I did all those things because it put me where I am now. Yeah. It gave me the mindset that I have now. It put me in directions. And that's the thing is like, you're not comfortable now, or you like God's plan. You don't know, but you eventually you will. Like you don't know what he's doing now, and it could suck, but eventually you're going to be put where you've always wanted to be. And even then you may not realize it.
Yeah.
But eventually you're going to sit there and reflect and be like, oh, this is where I've always wanted to be. Let me take a second. Let me enjoy this. Let me appreciate this, because when I was in somewhere where I didn't want to be, I was depressed. I didn't like it. I was like, what did I do? What did I do? When I should have just accepted what it was, took the joy that it gave me, what it could have given me if I would have sat there and looked at what I had instead of what I didn't. You can always have those moments, but that's like where the mindset comes in of like perception, the perspective of things. And that's how, to bring back to like my story and everything, when I got to the fleet, I put on a new mindset. I still dealt with the mental battle of still trying to figure out what was going on in my head. And I started having the suicide thoughts. And that's when I realized, okay, something's wrong. Like, and it was weird because those thoughts would come out and all of a sudden I'd snap out of it and I'd be like, why did I just think of that? Like, why? At first I didn't know. I was like, did I really just think that just now? And slowly but surely you don't realize, but you go deeper and deeper without even knowing. And I just thought, I'm just going to push it to the side. I'm going to push it way down. Like, this isn't me. This is how my dad raised me, how my parents raised me. This is not the mindset I grew up with. Like, let me just push it to the side. And that made it worse, unknowingly. But I put on this new perspective of where I was. And when I got to the fleet, I was like, I'm going to work hard. Again, same thing with A school. I'm going to work hard, get all the awards that I can, do anything I can to stand out and just excel in my career and make something of where I'm at. And that's how it is. If you ask anybody in the military, I bet you've heard it numerous times. It's what you make of it. That's one thing I was always told, especially when I got out. It was like, oh, it's what you make of it. And that's what I did. And by the end of my career, I was literally called positive. I think I was positive PO or something like that. Positive petty officer. They called me something. And it was pretty much because I woke up every day and had a smile on my face. There were people that walked by, and the only reason they recognized me is because they were like, why do you always have a smile on your face? I was like, just happy to be here. Just like, why be mad? Why be sad with this? There's nothing we can do about it. Like, we're on deployment. What are we going to do? Like, I can't get off this boat. Might as well enjoy it. Might as well be happy. Might as well make some fun out of this. Like, take advantage of what the boat offers when we have those fun days, when they put the volleyball court out in the hangar bay. Might as well go play some volleyball. So there were days where I did hard things. Shout out to Joe Rinaldi. That's one of my coaches right now. And that's their things, do hard things. And one thing I did is like, I didn't know what else to do. So I just went to the gym, hopped on a treadmill, and I ran until that thing wouldn't work anymore. Literally, I ran for like 2.5 hours. And then before I knew it, I couldn't even turn the treadmill on. It wouldn't let me turn it on. And so I just did things like that. And like I said, by the end, I was a positive petty officer. And I got out with that mindset. Quarantine hit. And during quarantine, you had two options. sit on the couch and get fat or get up and get after it. And I decided, you know what, and I didn't even think about it. I just knew like, I'm just going to keep working out. I made a routine that to this day, I can't even mimic the routine because I just did it. I didn't think about it. I didn't count macros. I didn't count the amount of miles I ran. I didn't post anything on social media. I did like some videos, like played around with it and like posted what I was doing during COVID, but nothing like influencer type stuff. And I wake up every morning, just naturally would wake up. When I was ready to get up, I put my shoes on, go out the door, go for a run, come back, do HIIT cardio. And then later on, me and my roommate would hit this gym on the beach. It was a buried gym, pretty much a pull-up bar. There was a bench out there for bench press and everything. We found like weights under the sand and everything. We dug the whole thing out. And we go there and do workouts at night. And I just did that every single day, ate clean. And then next thing I know, I go home. And this was a month. Like I looked just like kind of just average. And then I got home and I was just shredded up. And I looked in the mirror and before I knew it, I was like in the best shape of my life. And I come home, same, especially in good shape now, positive mindset, and decided to go home and walk into a full-on relationship with someone. And again, that was my first time being like truly in love with someone. And I think being blinded by that love, I didn't take a second to come home and really like take in everything, not knowing what I walked into. So like for a good few months, I was enjoying life. I took a break, didn't go back to work right away, had a girlfriend, stayed in shape, ate healthy, just did all the things I was doing prior to coming home. And then real life hits, like COVID died down. I have to get a job now, and would work like odd jobs, got hired by like family, friends, and all that stuff. And then before I knew it, the relationship, we were in for 2 years, and unknowingly just blinded by love, just ignored all the red flags, ignored all of them, and it dragged me down. So within 2 years, bank account gone, mindset gone, everything. And again, here's the depression. Like here's the thoughts. And then when it was over, the relationship was over. There was like a moment of like, yeah, there's no reason to be here anymore. So got through that, thankfully. And met some good people. I started some new ventures again, just trying to keep myself busy. And did some ventures, did like try to start my own brand, all this stuff. And then try to get back in shape. I went from 177 to 222 and was in the worst shape of my life and just like sick. And then try to get back in shape, got back into CrossFit, and I started getting really good. I went out to tried out for the open, put like I think 245 over my head, and went in.
It's big weight, dude.
Yeah, went in Sunday to do a little workout, start the week off, and something clicked in my back, and I'm like, I've thrown my back out plenty of times. I wrestled in the military. My back is being 5 years in the military. Back is pretty banged up. I've got bulges, I know it, and everything like that. But thrown my back out a couple times, but nothing like this. And I felt something click, and I'm like, all right, let me go home. I'll rest. Went through the week, took it easy. Got to the second workout of the open, was fine, but I started feeling this like pain in the back of my leg, and I'm like, all right. So my shoulders got obliterated from the last workout, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna kill myself over. I'm not going to the games. Like, let me just rest. And so I did, but then the pain in the back of my leg just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, what is going on? And then eventually it crept up to my hip, and then I'm like, I couldn't bend over. Like I could not keep my leg straight and bend over. I had to like bend the knee, and like I was just like, there's something wrong. And then eventually I couldn't even get dressed. And then so like by March, so open was in like February time, I think, and by the end of March, couldn't walk. Started getting the injections, doing all the therapies you possibly think of. I don't know Caleb at this point. I don't know him at all. Going through every single thing I could think of, and I'm thinking like surgery is the only way out. And got the injections, and actually the injections worked. I had 2 injections, and we always do something for my birthday. I don't really care for my birthday, but I let everyone else use it as a as an excuse to go on vacation. Together. So we go to Nashville. I'm in pain, but I'm able to do stuff. I'm able to walk around. As long as I stay standing, I'm good. Like if I sit down, I just know I'm gonna have to endure some pain trying to get back up, but it's fine. Had a good time. Came home. Got another injection, which is weird. I wasn't supposed to have one. I thought I was, and I was supposed to do a checkup, and I was like, the doc said, "Well, do you want one?" I go, "Well, I mean, they're working, so why not? Like, I feel great. Like, I feel like I'm getting better. I think they're working." I don't know much about these injections. I'm thinking I'm being cured. Really, it's just disguising the pain, but I don't know that, and I know it's making me better. So why not keep doing it? And for whatever reason,
are you training hard at this time too?
No, I'm not even training at all. Like I'm not doing anything at all. I'm still like I'm heavy too. Like I'm still put on weight and everything. So when they did the injection, something just wasn't right. Something didn't feel right, and he kept missing the spot and kept going in and out and going back in, and it freaked me out. And I'm like, dude, you're playing with my spine. Like you're just stabbing me. Like it's like nothing, and it freaked me out. And I was supposed to do another one into my piriformis just to make sure, like, to see if it was muscle related. And I knew it wasn't muscle related. But I was like, you know what, it's not gonna hurt, so let's just do it. And then once he was done with my back, I go, you know what, never mind. Let's just stop with that one. I'm good. Like I'm sweating on the table. I'm like, dude, something.
Those needles are big too, right? Yeah. The cortisone needles that they're, yeah.
Dude, I was like, something's off. I get up and I leave, and I'm going home, and I'm like, I'm scared. And of course, I was right, and it went downhill from there. The pain got worse. There were days where I did feel good. Thankfully, the day of my graduation, I felt good enough to go to my graduation. I graduated from physical therapy assistant school, and was fine. And then woke up the next morning and tried to like stretch, move around, and I feel like something's off. And I go to get up, and I couldn't. I ended up having to go to the hospital the next day. My dad literally numerous times I had to get carried to the hospital because I was just locked up. I couldn't move. And my dad had to take me to the hospital. They drug me up and relax everything, and then I'd be able to move again. So again, now I'm back fighting not only the physical, but the mental battle. And
dude, and you graduated from PTA school. Like, think about that also, right? Like,
yeah,
you have a background and a knowledge of all of this stuff. And like, you're going through the thing yourself that you're probably helping other people kind of like do and change. And it's so interesting. Like, you know, I coach people, myself as a coach. I have coaches because I don't want to get stuck in this realm of like, I know everything, because I definitely don't. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting how like sometimes the doctor or whoever, like, it's one thing to know, and it's another thing to practice, another thing to like have the wherewithal within yourself too, to know like, hey, what am I pushing too hard? What is this, you know, intervention? Ironically enough, we talk a lot, like the analogy being like, let's say like you're 300 pounds overweight and you're trying to like lose weight. People will jump to getting their stomach liner like redone or Ozempic or whatever, but they wouldn't like make a necklace and put like a bucket of like vomit under their face and like have to smell that to like keep them from eating, you know, like they will jump to having the injection before that and think like that thing is crazy. But the reality is like one of them is, you know, totally altering your physiology, like potentially forever, with, you know, stomach reduction surgery, Ozempic, where you're losing 40 to 60% of your lean muscle mass, whatever that becomes, and future, you know, issues with that I don't even think we're aware of quite yet. But like the other thing is no intervention, but you look like a madman, you know, walking around with something like that, you know. And I the knowledge that you probably have as a PTA, I'm sure ends up coming in later on in the story to where it kind of helps. But like, it's interesting how like we've got down this thing, and so much of it too, you've leaned on and discussed of being like, it is very mindset driven. Like when you're in a positive frame of mind, when you have those, when your values and the way that your life is going is in alignment, and those things like meet, like you're feeling good, you're looking good, life is good, it's moving in the right direction. And then when those things start to get out of alignment, the polar opposite occurs. And it's unique. And I think well, not actually unique. You should feel comforted that there's plenty of people that are going through the same thing. I've been that way too. I think I may have told you before, like my heaviest weight, and like hardest, I'll say, like physical moment. I'm 230 pounds in naval flight training. I'm powerlifting, essentially like doing like big powerlifting splits, eating a ton, kind of not even like understanding like kind of what's going on. I'll call it the dirty bulk, if you will.
Yeah.
But dude, I checked into the naval flight dock and they're like, hey, the T6, the Navy training plane, has an ejection seat rated for 231 pounds. And I'm 230. And they're like, bro, if you gain a pound, you are not able to fly this plane.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, dude, I've been working for this. And for people that know me, like they know that I've been trying to go to flight training since I was like 6. Like I'd wanted to be a pilot in the Coast Guard since I was like 6 years old. Backstory. We lived in Connecticut at the time, and Christmas one year we had a big Christmas party at our house, and they landed a helicopter with Santa Claus in it and presents on our like basketball court. That was at the house, and I'm 6 years old, and I'm like, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, dude, I want to do that. Like, who's flying that thing? That's what I want to do. And people will tell you, like, ever since I was 6 years old, I was like, I'm going to be doing that. And ironically enough, like, I'm at this position now where I'm at a crossroads, dude. It's like, I finally benched 315. I finally squatted over 400 pounds. I finally deadlifted over 500 pounds. But I was working towards these goals, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the benefit? When I go and play lacrosse, because I was still very much playing, and still do play today, but when I was going to play, I was heavy, I was slow, like my joints hurt, like all these things. And like I ignored all of that because I'm chasing this fictitious thing of like being strong. Then I look at myself in the mirror and I look at a photo of myself now and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Like, why do I care about any of these things, especially if I can't achieve the professional and personal goals that I truly have set out for myself, you know? So like, how do I align these things together? And I think that moment, and probably in conjunction with a little bit of like, my grandfather is 84, and I've told this story a handful of times on this podcast too, is like, he plays basketball, 20-year-old still. Like he's incredibly fit. He re-roofed his house on his own in the middle of the summertime in California, which it's 100 degrees outside. I mean, he's up there on his roof laying shingles, like doing roof repair. Like the dude is like, no shit, like very, very active, super fit and healthy. And he gets to play basketball not only with grandchildren, which is me, you know, 30 years old, but great grandchildren that are then around that are like in their 20s now too, which is like, how unreal is that?
That's goals right there,
dude. That's what I'm saying. Like that
longevity.
And you know what, dude? Yeah. He's not picking up 315. Like, why? What's the point? What is the point? He can re-roof his house. He can go on a run. He can play basketball. He can get on and off the ground with great grandchildren, which is like as much as pain free as you can be at 84. But like, I'm like, that is what I want. I don't care about picking up the heavy weight anymore. I don't care about, I want to play sports and have fun and have that. And I think like that human connection piece you talked earlier about and hit on is like so important. Like what are we doing if I get some people are like, oh, I'm just a loner, I'm an introvert. And that can be true, but even introverts need human connection. Yeah. And there's times where you need to kind of plug into that. And that's like what I like value so much. So like when I'm 230 and I'm sitting here at this crossroads of like, oh, I can be a sick power lifter who can lift 500 pounds, or I can like live a life that I want to live and like have this as my goal. And now I like boil it down to like, I want to dance to my 80th birthday and I want to play sports till I die. It's like, those are the two things. So 80th birthday, I'm dancing around, like that's a win. I don't want to be in a wheelchair when everybody else is there and I've got like family and friends, and I don't want to watch from the sidelines like ever. And that's kind of where it all comes from now. Like and that is just so important. And I think again, values and like personal action alignment. And then now I'm like the most fit and healthy that I feel like I've ever been, well-roundedly, you know? And I think it mirrors your story, not to be on that huge monologue, but like, I feel like it mirrors your story of like, hey, we're in this position where the mindset and all this stuff is working well. And now that the things are out of alignment, like this is where we are. And then now we're dealing with this back issue. where we're not walking anymore. Like, how do we get ourselves back to this thing? So how'd you get out of that?
So, had graduation, went to the hospital and everything. And then I think some weeks went by. The hospital, that kind of helped a little bit, got me to like relax. I unlocked a little bit. And it was kind of weird. There was the week that I met Caleb, I started feeling better for some reason. Like I was able to get up out of bed.
Did they give you muscle relaxers
Yeah,
and more cortisone shots?
So
or
no more shots. I had the 3 shots. The third one was like, I'm done with this. But I did get prescribed oxys and Percocets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And my family is anti-drugs. I mean everything. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't smoked weed or anything. That's the farthest I've gone. I will say that. But again, I can't do the pills, anything going up my nose. No, don't even try asking me. It's not going to happen. And my dad he grew up in Northeast Philly. Seen all of his friends get into drugs.
Yeah, fall victim to that.
Yeah, he's tried them, and he does not see any point in them. It has done nothing but bad things for his life and for his kids. We're not a drug family. Like he won't even take Advil. I think the only time he's ever taken Advil is if he had like a serious like migraine, and it's like, all right, I gotta take some Advil. But other than that, yeah, no drugs. So, but eventually I knew it was bad, and my dad could see how much pain I was in and how miserable I was. And finally he's like, dude, just take them. Like, obviously be careful. Like, do not, please. I was like, Dad, I don't have that type of addictive personality. I'll be fine. He goes, but you're obviously miserable and in a lot of pain. Just take them. I go, all right. I took them, and I could see why people get addicted to that stuff. That was the only time I could ever like go be social or go do anything at all. I was like, dude, these things are magic.
Yeah.
And I saw how dangerous those things can be, and I was like, yeah, no. There was a time actually I took them and forgot and went out with friends, and I told myself, I can't drink. I'm taking these, and then like a few hours went by, and like I'm still feeling the effects. It's obvious I'm still moving around, but like I'm like I forget that I'm on them, and I started drinking, and I went home, and I was like, I don't even know how to describe it. I was in a different world. Like I wasn't tripping or anything, but I was like, it was a weird feeling. It was a feeling I hadn't felt before, but I felt good. I felt so light. I felt like I was healed almost. It was the weirdest feeling ever. So thankfully I caught it, and I'm like, yeah, no more. I'm not doing that again. And then the week came up that I met Caleb, and like I said, I started feeling better. And my dad calls and he goes, I want you to call this person. I met him at my networking group, and his story is so much like yours. He told a story at the group, and he's talking about how he heard that he broke his back and all this stuff, and his story's just like yours. Give him a call. He's a chiropractor. I'm like, Dad, I work for a chiropractor. I already tried. Like, he's like, just call him. I call him, and we spoke to each other like it was like we've known each other for years. And he told me his story, and for whatever reason, it made me feel better. Just that phone call alone made me feel better. I went in that week, saw him for one adjustment. We immediately clicked. I was like, I didn't even feel like I was at a doctor's office. And he adjusted me. I was back to walking again, like fully like walking, still uncomfortable, still in pain, but like it was a different type of feeling. It was like I can actually like, I'm not miserable walking around. I'm just walking, and it's a little uncomfortable, and I'm still a little on edge, but it definitely helped. Second adjustment was 100 times better. And then a month later, back in the gym with Caleb, 3 months later, pain free. Like I still deal with sciatica, but what I thought was all of Caleb's doing, and which obviously is a huge part, his adjustments definitely helped. But what he showed me, and what I realized, is how, even though like growing up, I put myself into mindsets where I was enjoying where I was at, and I had perspective on things. One thing I did not have a great perspective on was how the body could heal. And it's not that I didn't believe in the body not healing. It's not that I had a negative thought towards healing or anything like that, or towards injuries. It was just I didn't understand the body that well. And even as a PTA student, like, yeah, you go to school, and to be honest, my school, they taught us how to pass tests. I didn't really I could have done more. I could have studied more, maybe put a little bit more effort, but I was so worried about passing tests, I didn't really focus on the knowledge.
That's what school is, man.
So yeah, so even though like I went to school for it, I still don't And like you said, like, you don't know it all. I don't know it all. Everyone doesn't know everything. So for me, I can't, I don't have an MRI in front of me. I don't know what's going on in my body. I don't know how to fix it. But what Caleb showed me is that if you do not believe your body can heal, it's not going to heal. So every time I got some type of treatment, I thought it was the magic bullet. And I was like, all right, well, why am I not feeling? Why am I not healed? But then he showed me, he's like, dude, you got to shift your mindset. Instead of waking up every morning saying, all right, let's see how much pain I'm in today. How about let's see how good I feel today. Let's see how much better I can do today. How much more I can do today. How good do I feel today? Instead of, all right, how bad is it today? Am I gonna have to take another Percocet today? Am I gonna have to take another Oxy today? Am I gonna get out of bed today? It's like, no, let's see how much I can do today. Let's see how good I'm feeling today instead of the opposite. Ever since that day, my mind shift has changed towards healing. I wake up every day. I still have that injury in the back of my head, but I look at it in a different way. I wake up every morning being like, my body's healing. My body knows how to heal. And like when I go to the gym, it's not, I don't set the limits. I'm going to push the limits, but I'm going to be smart about it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just because I hurt my back putting 245 on my head doesn't mean I'm not going to try and put 245 on my head again. Like, I'm going to do it just a little, but I'm going to be a little bit more smart about it. Like, and back to what you said, like, what was the point of lifting all that heavy weight? If like, I'm not going to be able to do that when I'm 85, but I'd rather be as healthy as possible as I can when I'm 85. And that's kind of how I look at it now. I'm looking for like the longevity. I want to be able to move around and like, even like being a PT tech, I'm a tech now. So take my exam in January, become a PTA, and seeing the patients that I see and all of them like thinking like, oh, like this is the magic bullet, like I'm going to be better. And like, they're not going to do the extra stuff outside of PT, or the people that just like go through life and not thinking about like, I'm not going to be able to do this forever, but I can if I do the right things. And that's,
Yeah, it's funny. Like you talk about that stuff, like doing the stuff in and out, and it almost mirrors like your athletic journey early on, right? You were talking about like, hey, I was doing these things as an athlete, and it didn't click till my senior year about like how good I could be at something if I put in a little bit of extra time, effort, and energy.
yeah.
And we had, I've been coaching lacrosse since I've been playing almost, and after college, I went and coached at the Citadel, and then I had a team in Pensacola, Florida, when I was going through flight training there. I coached for 4 or 5 years over on the West Coast when we traveled all over for tournaments. And like, it wasn't necessarily the kids that were the best, that were like the most gifted that I like, one, enjoyed coaching, but two, like saw the greatest amount of improvement and then like just ran away. It was the kids that like, they would come to practice and then you'd hear them talk about how they were like throwing with a buddy when they were at home. And like, they either got lost in the play, which that's like one, like I'll call like bucket of guy who like, they just get so lost in the sport that they just love it. And inevitably, like based on exposure time, they're just going to like do this, while the other kids that maybe are more talented are starting here, but they're not going quite as far. Or it was the other bucket of kid who was like, I am just going to relentlessly pursue this thing. And they're out there and they're throwing a ball against the wall for 2 hours in a day after they just finished playing. And then they're at practice early or they're staying late and they're putting forth that extra effort and energy. And like coaches, one, see that. And then two, like the next level, you want to talk about like high school to college, the jump is like, you can't just show up for an hour or 2 hours and then expect to get the time, right? Like when you're playing at a high level, which is any, NCAA program, any wherever, like you have to differentiate yourself because every other kid is either one after your spot or two out there to beat you. Like there's no way. And you've got teammates and that's great. But at the end of the day, like you're always competing with them. Like you need to be better, like on a wrestling team. Let's say there's 5 dudes that wrestle at your weight class. Like you need to be better than 4 dudes or else like you're not competing on the day of the match. And like, that's the reality. When you see it that way and then you're like, hey, I am competing, use this as like energy to improve, but also realize like I don't have it all and I need to improve on these things. And I think honest discussions with a coach or whatever, but it's so ironic. Like you talk about like your PT journey and like, that's the same thing. Like we end up seeing guys and it's like, hey, my mobility sucks. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like, what are you doing for mobility? And we prescribe them a mobility program. And we're like, hey, this is 5 minutes a day. Do this for a month and tell me how you feel. The month goes by, they're like, oh my gosh, like we feel so much better. Like this is so great. And I'm like, sweet, now do that for the rest of your life because that is what it takes now. Like that's why fitness and health and wellness doesn't sell because it's not sexy. You're prescribing burpees and hard shit for the rest of your life. And you know what? It's the reality is like it's a I say people want microwave results, but it's a crock pot roll, bro.
Yeah,
like you can't like good. you can't like do this fast. Like there's no way to do it fast if you want it to be sustainable and right. And that's why I get on like a soapbox about like Ozempic train and maybe like cortisone shots or whatever, pain pills, all these things that are masking true problems. And it's like until you can like step back and realize, hey, that one, the body can heal. Two, you are capable of like more than you probably even think. And three, like maybe the answer isn't necessarily, sign up for this new program that's 30 days and you're going to get shredded. It's like, hey, maybe you need to find a community of people because the reality is you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and if you look around and you're like, hey, these 5 people that I'm with, you could rank yourself 1 through 5 and be like, am I at the top echelon? Am I at the bottom echelon? And I want to be at the bottom of the echelon of 5 people that I hang out with the most because they're going to push me to be better.
And it's going to grow from that.
Yeah, dude. And that's the reality is like surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, fitter than you, faster than you, and whatever. And you're eventually the rising tides will raise all ships, right? You're going to end up in a better spot. And that's why like I lean in so heavily and people will say it's woo woo and bullshit, but like the community piece, and I'm excited to talk about yours that you're kind of developing here. The community piece is just so critical. Like that, health, if you want to go, what do they say? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's like, if you're looking for the fastest way to get healthy, like, sure, like go do this program, whatever. But like at the end of the day, like if you're not where you want to be right now, like take a look at like what you've been doing. And it's like, hey, people are social. They need human connection. You need to relate to somebody, realize you're not alone. Everybody has similar struggles. Even as a coach, like my nutrition isn't perfect. My training isn't perfect. Last night, I found out that I'm promoting in the service. I'm making 04, big news for us. But at the reality is like I had a glass of champagne last night. And like if I'm going to say like, hey, what is the best thing for my health? It's not drinking champagne at 8:00. Like that's the reality. But like I'm also a human being. I need balance in lifestyle and health and wellness. And I don't want those things to steal. And I'm not going on stage in a bodybuilding show potentially ever, but definitely not in the near future. So yeah, finding that community, I feel like is just so key. And the people that are going to promote the body can heal these things, you're capable of this, and push you to kind of almost realize your own potential. It's just so key.
And that's the mission that I'm really on right now. Also, like, I mean, everyone, you're always looking to better yourself. As I'm doing that, I'm trying to find that community. And that's the whole reason I'm glad you invited me on to here is because, where my like story ends up is with the Good Vibes Run Club and the thing that I'm doing now, which is the, Changing My World series that I have going on right now. But back to like the story, of like meeting Caleb and shifting to that mindset of like the body can heal and everything. I started to, what's the best way to put it? When after that whole shifted and like I got that spark again to get, because I was actually not going to do PTA. So best way to put it, yeah, I wasn't going to do PTA, and then I met Caleb. It lit a spark, and then my body started to heal. I started meeting other people, and then Caleb brought the idea of like, because I was trying to get back into shape. He was like, "Why don't you start Run Club again? Like, or why don't you start a Run Club?" I was like, I mean, they are like kind of trending. It would probably bring some people in, and I was like, I need to find more people like Caleb. One thing when I was growing up is like trying to find those people that I share common interests with. The people I grew up with are not like me at all. They don't work out. They live the day to day. They have the 9 to 5, which I'm not hating on anybody that lives that life. It's just they're not my type of people. It's just I'll hang out with them on the weekends, go out and have a drink with you, go to like family and friendly events and stuff like that. But when we talk about like mindset, working out, health and wellness, the people I grew up with, they're not in that realm.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to accept that. I tried getting them to come to run club and everything. I tried getting them to come to the gym with me, and it just didn't happen, and that's okay. But what I realized is like, if I start doing the things that that I want to embody, those people are going to come. So Caleb, another thing about like perspective or being somewhere you don't want to be, but eventually the place you're being put into will bring you those people. So I look at my injury as a way that God brought Caleb into my life, and vice versa. Like, because if I didn't hurt my back, I would have never met Caleb.
Right.
And me and him share a lot of common interests. So met him, and then he's like, "Why don't you do the run club?" I was like, "We'll just do it every Saturday." And it started as nothing. I invited some people out. We're going to go for a run. We'll go get something to eat after. And then I slowly started to realize it turned into how I'm going to get my story out, how I'm going to help people find that community that I want to find, but also help people along the way of movement is medicine. If you don't believe your body can heal, it won't. You have to believe it can heal. And then I realized that I started to force things, and I realized I was trying to put on this persona of like, okay, I have a following, I have this thing, and now I gotta make things happen. I gotta force these things. I gotta get it out there. I gotta make sure there's people showing up every time. And it kind of drove me away from the whole run club thing. I actually took a month off of it, and I started getting disappointed. And again, had to shift the mindset. And I realized, like you said, I had that glass of champagne. Like, I need balance. I'm not perfect. My workouts aren't perfect. I realized that I was like trying to create this perfect life, and then I forgot all about the balance. I forgot all about what the why was, what the reasoning for all this stuff was, and it gave me a negative mindset on what I was trying to do, and I was like ready to give up. And then me and Caleb, of course, had another talk, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta just let things happen. You gotta let it flow." And then we actually went to a retreat together, and that kind of shifted the mindset. And that's what brought the changing my world thing. Was each day just try to embody something different, try to sit back and reflect and realize where you're at and what you want in life, and then how are you going to do to achieve it. And then even if you don't do anything that day or towards those goals, that it's okay. Like, the things are going to happen that are supposed to happen. But if you put yourself in a place, though, where you're going to attract that community, attract the people, attract the things that you want, as long as you stay true to that, like, those things are eventually going to happen. You're eventually going to be where you want to be. And that was like another thing that I learned through this whole process of like, and like through the run club. Because at first I was doing the right things, and then I forced everything. And it really the whole reason I know I'm rambling, but the whole reason I'm saying this is because you brought up balance.
Yeah.
And just, it's crazy how if you're just true to yourself, and you surround yourself with the things that you want to embody, eventually you're going to be put in that place of where you wanted to be that whole time.
Yeah. And I can relate too, man, like from a business world, like starting this company, and like doing this thing, like right away, we hit like really rapid success. Mm-hmm. Like, and not that it's monetarily important or whatever, but like we had like a couple really, really big months of like selling online coaching, like early on. Yeah. I had to hire on an assistant coach. My wife left her job so she'd come work for the business. I had another guy who was going to be an assistant coach at one point, where I'm like now managing all these things. And I feel like as I started to do those things, I got away from what made me like, one, like coaching, two, like what truly like lit me up, and then like pouring into the community. And I feel like I like got distracted, and I was so focused on like, maybe not like the next sale is the wrong word, but like achieving that achiever's mindset of like the next step, the next step, the next step. Like, I want to be like in this like monopoly of like, I just have all these coaches, I'm managing people, I'm helping them improve and all that stuff. And the reality is like, what do I want my life to look like? The people I want to surround myself with, and like, let me work backwards from that. And the last probably year and a half, I've like restructured my business like over to where now it's the podcast is like open forum. There's times where like I can't sit down here and get a guest on and record because I'm deployed for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I walk around post workout with my phone in the middle of a parking lot of a hotel, and I'm like giving like a 10-minute, post workout. I'll call it a rant for lack of a better term, but it's like, this is something that I thought about today, and I'm going to deliver this. And the medium is not going to be sitting here in this podcast studio, mm-hmm. which is an office in the middle of our house that's under like super construction, which you saw too. Yeah. Like, I don't want to paint this perfect photo and perfect image of all this shit because 1, I'm not perfect. 2, my life's not perfect. And 3, like, nobody wants to see that anymore. Like, you need to have like the workouts with the great lighting and all that shit. But like, the reality is like, not everybody lives in a huge mansion house with the perfect home gym or gym out. And they're like not sitting there in front of a mirror and taking this photo of their body, and they don't look like a bodybuilder or a gym shark. Like, put in any of like the fitness influencers that people follow and all these things. It's like, that's not reality for 99% of people. They want to see the failures. They want to see, because what happens in that is it reminds you, 1, you're not alone because everybody fails. And if you're not failing, you're probably not putting yourself in a position to truly grow and succeed. And 2, like, why the people that I resonate the most with are the people that are like, yeah, I fucked up and I did this wrong. And like, I've done that so many times of being like, somebody's teaching me how to fly a plane. And the guy who is like holier than thou and like can't make a mistake is the guy that I learned the least from, because they're not able to own up like, oh man, like I bounced that landing, dude. I planted the shit out of the plane that time. Or, hey man, like my workout program was bad, or like I'm not learning something new. And all of that to say, like, the growth mindset, the being a beginner, the realizing that not everything is going to be perfect is kind of like part of life, right? Like, from rat infested home to moving out and making that thing happen, like we were talking about before, like that's kind of like what life is,
Well, that's the when I mentioned the Change My World series, like talking about like authenticity is like I don't have the best lighting in my house. Like sometimes I'm not around to post, so I'll do like a little video of like something, like I took a video of like me driving down the road or whatever, or I did it just now. Like in my videos, I stutter, I say like, I don't cut it up, I don't chop it up, nothing. The only editing I do is I throw a cover on it, maybe throw a little music in the background, and that's it. And just now, like me trying to connect the dots, because you asked me like how I got like to where I'm at now with like the community and the ventures that I'm on right now with the run club. Just now, I just rambled. Probably didn't make any sense. We're probably going to watch back at this and be like, what the fuck was he just talking about?
You don't watch it, dude.
Yes.
That's the key. I haven't watched a single one, man.
But that's the thing is like, on social media, and I'm not putting any hate, and it's funny, I just saw a thing today about this new like trend of this false or toxic positivity. And it's these 20-year-olds waking up, dancing in the mirror at 4 a.m. Well, it says 4 a.m. Who knows what time it actually is. And they're like brushing their teeth and they're hitting dance moves in the mirror, smiling, dancing while they're making their breakfast, going on runs. And it's like,
no one's that happy at 4 a.m. And I know because I wake up and I get in that whole point and I hate it, dude. It is so hard.
I give mad props to them if that's truly who they are. I'm not going to hate. I'm not trying to spread negativity. If that's truly who you are as a person, awesome. Keep going. Keep spreading that positivity. But what I don't agree with is the fact that there's people out there that are treating it as a trend.
Yeah.
It's like, before you saw that dude, and there's a dude that I know, I'm not going to say his name. There's a dude that I saw, I follow him. I think his stuff is great, but that's because I can differentiate between the content and real life.
Yeah.
He is, I've seen his friends post about him, like defending him, saying, no, he's actually like that. Awesome. If he's actually like that, then awesome. Keep going. But there's now people out here, but you weren't hitting the nay-nay in the mirror, brushing your teeth, and then going on a 5-mile run and recording all of it and putting on social media before you saw him do it.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact because we're all the videos. You saw him do it. He became viral. And now there's all these videos of these dudes coming out and dancing in the mirror as they're getting ready for their run or work or whatever it is. And it's like, if you're sitting out there, if like people watch this and like, or people hear the same message that I'm saying right now, cool, scroll all you want. But just know those people that are putting on that front, that aren't putting the authentic stuff in, the real life stuff, the day to day, the days they're sick, the days they're injured, just know that they do have days like that. It's not like that at all. They're not going to show you the bad days. They're going to show you the content, the good stuff. They're going to put out the positivity, which is awesome. Keep spreading that positivity. But just know if you're going to watch that stuff and you're going to let those people influence you, just know that they have bad days too, and your bad days are going to happen. But just know, don't sit in those bad days. Do the things you need to do. Take a step forward. Take a day. Take a breath. Move forward. And that's what the whole thing with this, the aid station thing that I talk about. Like you were there when I spoke about it. Like all my speeches now, when I come to Run Club, they're off the top of the dome. But one thing I'm trying to let people know is you're same thing as in a race. Like you're in a marathon or an ultra marathon, whatever it is, there's aid stations. In every race, there's an aid station. And you're going to have a bad aid station. I've done 4 ultras now, and every aid station is different. There's aid stations where I'm crying. There's aid stations when I'm smiling. There's aid stations I want to quit. And then there's aid stations where I think I could run another one after this. Same thing in life. There's days you're going to wake up and not want to go work out. There's going to be days where you miss a meal, miss a workout. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to get cut off in traffic. You're going to have those bad aid stations, but just wait for the next one. Keep going. Keep trying to do positive things, do things towards your goals. Try to keep a positive mindset and don't fake it. Do things that you want to do. Sit there, be like, damn, I missed a workout. You know what I'll do? I'll just do it later in the day, or I'll do it the next day, and then wait a little bit, and because that good aid station is coming. Like you're gonna reach, and it's gonna be a roller coaster. You're not gonna have one bad aid station and then the rest of them are good. Yeah. There's always gonna be that bad aid station, but then it also goes to show you that those bad aid stations make you appreciate the good ones that much more.
And that kind of like mirrors, you could talk through like for money people, like stock market trends, like if you're somebody who follows the S&P, like we know it does this and then dips and then dips and dips. But at the end of the day, like if you look at 50 years ago to now, like the market's gone up, and that's like continually investing into your health or whatever the same way is so important. Like if you miss one workout, don't make it two. And then like continuing to progress and making that change. And you talked a lot earlier about like, hey, how do you make this your person and aligning with your values? And I think we kind of beat that dead horse. But if you think about the people that are now stealing a health or a fitness trend to then like do this thing, they're getting out of alignment. And the reality is like, if you're not aligned with your values, you can't do it forever. Mm-hmm. And that's what we talk so much about, like, especially when I'm doing like catered nutrition coaching for somebody, like the first question I'm going to ask you is like, can you eat like this forever? Yeah. Like, is this something that you can sustain? Because if we're at a point where like, hey, you lost 10 pounds in a month, like that's super sick. But like, if you decided that you're going to go do keto and you're like, dude, I can't eat keto for the rest of my life, I'm going to be like, we can't continue to do this, because like, that's how you yo-yo back to what you did before. And this is how we need to make sure that we are more in alignment with how we eat. Like, hey, you know what? I love a hamburger, or I love like, dude, I'm a slut for a donut. Like I'm going to let, it is like so bad. Like you've seen the movie Finding Nemo, I'm sure. Yeah. So I'm like Bruce when he gets like a sniff of like the blood, and then his eyes go like, woo, and then it's like the whole box of 12. Like I could just tank.
I could do half a dozen. I don't know about a whole dozen.
Dude, I probably could. Maybe when Chelsea and I get them, we get 12 and she eats like 2 or 3. So maybe I'm eating like 8 or 9. But like, dude, I can easily do it. And it's so funny. Like I have tried to coin, maybe I should like put it on a t-shirt, but like life's too short to not eat the donut, like, or it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But on those days, like I'm like, I just ate a dozen donuts, but like, then I'm like, well, tomorrow I probably shouldn't eat a dozen donuts, exactly. Like don't do it 2 days in a row. And this is the same thing. Like, hey man, like what is a sustainable way for you to continue? How can you, and you know what? Donuts are sweet. Like I really love like, Chelsea makes sourdough bread. That's awesome. And it's like, dude, if I'm eating like keto or call it like carnivore or whatever these like diet trends are, you're not able to have the balance and you're not able to do the things. And then if you can project out like, oh, when I'm 80, am I going to be eating carnivore? It's like, probably not. Like, I can't do that. I can't eat meat and cheese until I'm 80. So yeah, fruits and veggies, base of protein, produce, and water. Wash, rinse, repeat. Do those things over and over again, and then eventually you're going to get there. So we don't coach going on a keto diet like that.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't work. And you know what else we don't do is we don't say, hey, you need to do a HIIT workout every single day for the next 30 days. It's like, hey, dude, you got to meet somebody where they're at. And if they're only able to walk, hey, let's go for a 5-minute walk today. Let's put our shoes on this morning. And even if you don't go out and do the workout, you put your shoes on, that is the win. Like anything else bonus is bonus. And then you eventually like win stack and you have a stack, and then you find the ways for the sustainable progress and the results. And then you see what you are capable of. You start to believe the fact that the body can heal. You can do it on your own. And ironically enough, like the best and worst part about selling health and wellness and the way that we do it is like, I don't want you to need us after 6 months or a year. Yeah. Like the whole point is for you to be on your own at that point, continuing the trend of weight loss, muscle gain, body confidence, whatever that thing becomes. So
and
that
also
you can
finding balance within that.
Totally, dude. Like, because at the end of the day, why would you want to live a life that's so rigid where your friends are going out to Nashville and you are going out and you're like, I can't have anything with dinner today with everybody because like I've got my food scale at home and I did all this thing. Yeah. You haven't built the foundational knowledge to be like, oh, dude, if I I know I'm going to Nashville this week. So what I could do is I could have like a couple foods at the hotel that like I know are good and they're going to help me like towards the goal. And then at night I can have a burger. I can have, barbecue mac and cheese. I can do these other things because I've set myself up for a win. And then maybe instead of having 15 beers 4 nights in a row, I'm going to have 2 or 3 this night. And then this night I know I'm going to go ham and let myself enjoy being with friends or whatever your vice becomes. Yeah. But like without that yin and yang, without being able to navigate with some foundational knowledge and awareness, self-awareness in particular, you're not going to be able to get to that point. Yeah.
One thing I try to tell myself, and I don't say it enough, is something that I want to start putting out, and it's finding the difference or finding the balance between grace and discipline is the difference between living a sustainable life and a miserable life. And that was one thing that I had trouble with, was like, I just had a talk with Caleb the other day and he told me, he's like, dude, he told me like perspective again. It's, I would wake up in the morning if I missed that run, or I'd relate back to when I was in shape, like during COVID times, I'd always relate back to that and be like, I have to destroy my body to be in shape and to be happy. And he's like, yeah, no, you got to change that perspective. I was like, I'm still on the journey right now of finding that balance.
We all are, dude.
I'm still finding it, and things are always changing. Like, was living in a rat house. Thankfully, we're in a nice apartment now, but I've moved twice in less than 4 months. So it's like that, and then going on trips and stuff.
And you're about to be a dad, bro.
And I'm about to be a dad, yeah. So there's about to be another big change where I'm going to have to adjust and find the balance, and then also be disciplined, but also know that I'm going to need to give myself some grace every now and again. And that goes along, same thing with all this social media stuff, is like, you need like these people showing you all these great things. And like I said, like if this does make it out to millions of people and I get hate over it, so I don't care, because it's like, just know the difference like between like realistic and it's just social media. Because I'm not putting hate on anybody. Like, I love the positive. I love that you're showing people these things, whether you're a fitness influencer and you're showing people new ways to work out and all these things. It's all positive stuff. But don't put out, so every now and again, you got to put out like a story or a message or something about the bad days, because even though some people could sit there and be like, well, fuck everyone's feelings. Like, this is the stuff I'm going to put out. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. Well, the thing is, people are watching it. People are seeing your day to day, and it's not always rainbows. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. You're sick some days. Where's that video of like, I didn't wake up today, I'm sick? Like, you're telling me none of these influencers got the flu?
Yeah.
None of these and so I just think it's crazy. And it's like, if you are that person, if you're a positive person, you wake up in the morning and dance and brush your teeth, awesome. But don't don't turn yourself into something you're not.
The other thing too, I think that it ends up driving, and then after this, we'll make sure you get out of here because I know you got to work. But the other thing that I feel like is so important is like people fabricate this like persona of an online presence. I've met some people that are super successful in the online space. They like, once the camera's on, they drop into like character mode and they're like rattling off. They're super funny or they're witty, or maybe they have like this uncanny ability to just kind of check into this thing. But then, like, I meet this person in real life, and I'm like,
they're not like that,
dude,
at all.
you have no emotional intelligence. Like, you have no like ability to carry a conversation. You're socially awkward, or like you're nothing like this person that I met. What is this disconnect? And sometimes people make that work, and that's fine, and that's like kind of how they've run their business and they do their thing. And I'm not hating on any of that. Like, I can appreciate the person, and I hope that they continue to succeed in their business and they're that way with clients or whatever the thing becomes. But like, if you're able to align those things, and I think, I forget if it's Chinese or Japanese culture, they call it ikigai, which is like such an interesting concept of like, you're able to like, you're doing something that you love, you're doing something that the world needs, you're doing something you can get paid to do. You can do it forever, and like it like kind of like aligns all these things together, and it basically like makes it so that your life's purpose is really like in line, like your existential purpose in life. And it's like, when we find the ability to do that and you can be all of those things, I feel like that's when it hits. And you know what, like, if my business is never more than what it is right now, like, I'm happy to be able to touch and potentially nudge somebody in the right direction so that they can be healthy for the rest of their life. Like, that's enough for me. And I learning something from Caleb and me personally, like, I found previously that I was like putting my coaching value and my value as a person on somebody else's results and being like, hey, this person, they lost 30 pounds. Like, I'm the greatest coach ever. And then this person, like, made no change in their health and wellness, and I'm coaching the shit out of them and trying, but I gave people a similar product and effort from my perspective, but they did not take the ownership of their journey in that way as well. So I'm trying to be better about being in more in the middle of being like, hey, I'm not in charge of your success or your failure. I'm going to be totally neutral in that way. I'm going to coach you as hard as I can, as much as you'll let me. But at the end of the day, like, we're sitting in a car on a road trip. You're driving. I'm the passenger. I'll tell you where to turn if you ask, and we have this like got dialogue back and forth. But at the end of the day, you turn the car, you hit the gas, you hit the brake, you decide when we're stopping, you decide when we can change the tires. Like, all of those things are going to be based on that person, because if somebody else were driving my health journey, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. I wouldn't be able to seek out coaching or do that other thing. And it's just so critical. So yeah, finding a way to align, online persona or whatever with the other things. And like you said, like, then you'll attract the community and the people that you want, right? Like that, at the end of the day, like, that's the part that I have hit on so much, is like, how do you have that continued success? And it's because you got a group of people around you that are also like helping and showing those failures and the successes, and you get to, celebrate those things. And it's just so critical. Yeah, man.
It's hopefully we can do a part 2, because there's a lot we can talk about.
Oh, for sure, man.
For sure. Yeah. So, but no, dude, that is really what we're trying to meet. Like, and Caleb too. We got some ideas. We got locked in here right now, and eventually I want to put on like retreats, and I want to put on things to bring these people out and let them know, like, you can be your authentic self, and the journey isn't always pretty, and try to get away from the social media. That was one thing, the retreat that me and him went on a month, like, I think it was last month, or 2 months ago, and we didn't have our phones. Like, the only reason we probably used our phones, I think, was because we had to order our own food, and they'd have someone go pick it up. That was the only reason we used our phones. And dude, we really just, using the trendy terms, but locked in, and we wrote down everything that we wanted in life, what we needed to embody, everything. It really like flicked a switch, and it made me realize, like, I wasn't alone in this world when, like, meeting Caleb, that there are other people out there that don't think like caring is lame. that's those are the people that I grew up with. And it's not that they don't care. It's like they care about their family. They have love for people, caring about like health, wellness, more than just the surface level stuff. And there are those people out there, and we're trying to find that in this little city we call Dunedin, and it's definitely been difficult, but those are the people that we're trying to draw out and try to find and try to help people realize like again, your body can heal, movement is medicine, all those things. Like discipline is not, like I just posted yesterday, my change my world thing is, discipline is not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen. It's going to be invisible, and then it's going to happen all at once. So like you're not going to see it on day 1, day 2, week 1, week 2, and then all of a sudden, other people are going to notice it first. And I think a lot of people fail discipline. Discipline doesn't fail them.
Yeah.
So, and that's really one of the messages that I want to spread. Other than being authentic, those are the things that I'm trying to embody, trying to improve on myself, but also with the whole GBRC thing, the whole series that I'm doing, and then obviously through things like this, and thankfully there's people like you that can bring people on here and help spread their message and try to get it out there and show people what life really looks like, and that you can also be successful in it no matter what cards you're dealt. Your journey's probably gonna be a little bit harder than others, but eventually you're gonna be put where you always wanted to be.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. It's awesome to be able to do stuff like this, and even cooler to meet people that do it as well. So
yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna take all the stuff that you want to share. We'll put it in the show notes of the episode. So if you guys want to find Jordan, he'll be on there. But that's all I got. Thanks for popping on. If you listen this long, great. Feel free to share with a friend or give us a 5-star. It's really important for us. And remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. We'll see you guys next time. Sweet, dude.
All right. No, thank you, brother. That was awesome.